Welcome back to my channel. This is your boy Austin. I have my feal suspension coilovers on my car, and I've had them on my car for probably a couple thousand miles now. So I'm making a video based specifically off my experience with these coilovers. I'm gonna break it down into two categories: daily comfort and aggressive driving. And at the end of the video, I'm just gonna talk about my thoughts if it's worth even getting coilovers for your Q50 or not. So this is more of a winding road, mountain drive style of video. So stay tuned. All right, right into it. And I want to talk about aggressive driving first, since I actually have some roads coming up. For the driving, I don't want to eat up my tires, so I'm just gonna go probably double the curve limit of these corners. And yeah, first things first, what I've noticed in the aggressive driving difference of this actual coilover, of these coilovers, is the acceleration. The acceleration feels more linear. Like it doesn't squat as much just by having coilovers on, and obviously the dampening adjustment has something to do with it. But that is like something that I noticed right off the bat by having coilovers. And also the steering response. The steering response is so much better. I can feel the road a lot better. Not only that, the car is more predictable when I actually snap the steering wheel. And not only that, when I take the car into like a chicane. So like a chicane is like when you go from one turn to the next. And when I take the chicane, like the car is predictable in a chicane. Like the old stock suspension, what it would usually do when I would take a chicane, the body roll would snap back so hard that I wouldn't feel confident, staying in the throttle. But now with the coilovers, I feel completely in control with the car. And just to put it out there, my suspension setup is just coilovers. I did not buy a sway bar yet. I don't have the subframe collars neither. So as of right now, all I have is just the coilovers and just, the new tire setup that I have in my car. But for aggressive driving, I want to also highlight on the braking. The braking of the car is also more in control. Like when I hit the brake heavily, the nosedive is not so aggressive, and I feel like I'm in better control of the car when I hit the brakes. And that's before I even upgraded to the big brake setup. Like I noticed this just by having the coilovers on my car. And it don't really have to do with the feal suspension coilovers, but having coilovers in general for these Q50s, I think you would actually feel that benefit. You will feel that difference in braking and acceleration, and especially steering, because steering is one of the things in the Q50s that's pretty numb. But when you add, a more aggressive tire, a better tire, and on top of that, you also add coilovers for stiffening up the front end, for snappier response for the steering. The turn in is better, and when you leave the apex on full throttle, that's also better. So the power out of the apex is better also. So as far as aggressive driving, like my initial impressions of aggressive driving is excellent. I really do feel the difference driving this car aggressively with coilovers versus stock suspension. I also feel like when I add more suspension mods, it'll benefit everything so much better. The car is already planted for low speed and high speed cornering. But I'm gonna talk more about high speed cornering, since that's more in the realm of aggressive driving. So high speed cornering, when I actually throw the car into a high speed corner, what I notice is I get a little bit of body roll, right? But the body roll feels like I'm in control. Like I feel like I can really steer the car with the rear end versus the stock suspension where it kind of would throw me back and forth when I throw the car in the corners aggressively. I'm gonna go around this car because this car is really slow. All right, I went around that car. Now I can continue to actually take these corners with, you know, a little bit of speed. This is a 25 mile an hour turn. I take it at about 40, 45, 50. That was bad timing for that guy across the street. Another 20 mile an hour turn. All right. 35 mile an hour turn. That's easy. I can honestly go a lot faster. Like my inputs are not that aggressive at all. And I feel like I can hold it with speed. Mile an hour. Alright, we're coming in on something nice and tight. The technical stuff is man, this thing does a good job. Like, and that's just coilovers. Man. So under normal driving, just daily comfort, the difference that I noticed from stock suspension to this one is it is not as comfortable when you're just cruising, going straight. But since the steering response is so much better, it actually feels better in daily driving, especially when you gotta be defensive when you're driving in a city, when you got to drive defensively. It is very composed and comfortable, even with aggressive movements in the streets. When it drives over bumps and uneven, like paved roads, like the suspension does a great job at what do they call it, like softening the blows of the uneven roads and the bumps in the road. So with daily use, like it will not jar you, it would not shake you up, like unless you hit something like really, really, really hard on the road or something. But just normal driving, honestly, with the little bit of things that you do feel on the road with coilovers, honestly, you will get used to it so quickly because it's so comfortable and bearable that sometimes you forget you got coilovers on, especially with these feal suspension coilovers. Honestly, I think these are more comfortable than a BC coilovers because I've had BC coilovers in other cars. And although they were doing a great job, these do a better job. Now, as far as like high speed, I'm talking about like top speed runs in in a car like this with coilovers, you will honestly feel like you are glued. I ain't gonna say glued to the ground, but you'll honestly feel like you have more traction on the ground at higher speeds. I'm sure that ride height has something to do with it, but honestly, when you're going triple digits, like way up in the triple digits, and you in the stock suspension, the car feel like it's floating, and you don't want to feel like you're floating while you're going triple digits. You want to feel like you have complete control. And just by lowering the ride height just a little bit where I'm at right now, I can tell you, just a little bit of ride height and the coilovers the settings that I have them at, I feel like I'm in complete control at higher speeds. Are these things recommended for daily use? Like, would I recommend coilovers for daily use? I may be a little bit biased, but of course I recommend coilovers for daily use for a Q50 or a Q60. I believe these will actually make your car safer because of your ability to feel the road more, especially for a dual purpose car like the Q50. Most people who buy coilovers want it for dual purpose. They want to drive it daily, and they also want to take it to the track, whether it's the drag strip, autocross, whatever. They want to be able to do dual purpose. And I can't think of no better suspension setup than coilovers for dual purpose, because not only are coilovers adjustable with the ride height and like the stiffness of the shocks, but also they are affordable. You can buy coilovers. Coilovers are something that you can actually attain. You can buy them and you can keep them for a long time, rather than other setups. Like, yeah, you have springs, but springs will not give you the adjustability of coilovers. And air suspension, although it gives you more adjustability, the price of them are pretty expensive. So what I would say to the person who's looking for coilovers, just look for the right price first before you make a decision on which one to go with. The reason I chose feal suspension coilovers is because it's an American brand, and not only that, the coilovers that they make, they actually race with them on their cars. Like, the creator of feal is also a drifter. Odie, which is a drifter, he makes his own coilovers and he races with his coilovers. So I stand behind companies like that who actually put forth the effort and engineering to build something and uses it and competes with it. You know, I'm down for that. So what I would say is just do your research on the coilovers. Is coilovers worth it? Is coilovers worth it? Coilovers are extremely worth it, especially if your car is for dual purpose. If all you're doing is buying coilovers for a look, for your car to look a certain way with wheels, that's fine. But coilovers, you can really benefit coilovers to the fullest when you actually use your car for dual purpose. I can't wait to add more suspension parts to my car so that I can actually take full advantage of a dual purpose Q50 sedan, because the car is already pretty fun with just coilovers and a nice tire setup. So I can't wait until I get sway bars and subframe bushings. That'd be awesome. So with that said, this is pretty much the end of the video. Make sure you like, if you like the content, make sure you subscribe and show support for your boy. All right, God bless.